Well, let's get started. We have a very full meeting agenda tonight. The first hearing is Charles Yedlin. This is preliminary and final major site plan with variances. It's for 900 Harrontown Road, Block 901, Lot 21. I'm going to ask Mr. Solo if he'll start us off by outlining what's happening.
Mr. Solo, do you swear or affirm to testify truthfully in this application?
I do. Thank you and good evening. I'm going to be using an exhibit. It's the overall site plan for this development, sheet number 4. I'll label it as PB1. The chair indicated this is a preliminary and final site plan with variance application. The subject property is located at the southwest corner of Harringtown Road and Mount Lucas, and let me orient you. North is sort of going up towards the left. At the top of the map is Harringtown Road. To the right is Mount Lucas. At the bottom is Old Orchard Lane. The site itself is surrounded to the west, a variety of offices, some retail uses. To the north, across the way, that's Princeton House, which is a medical facility. Across Mount Lucas to the east are single-family residences, and then on either side of Old Orchard Lane to the south is a townhouse development called Old Orchard. The plan before you is to demo the existing buildings. The current site, it was the home for SAVE, which was an animal rescue and shelter and kennel, and they have, if you look at the plan, you'll see a variety of buildings scattered throughout the site. They will be demolished and replaced with a new 2-story, 25,000 square foot building, and that's shown here in the center of the site and in gray to give you an idea of its size. 125 parking spaces will accompany the building, and the parking surrounds the building as well. There's a storm basin as part of their stormwater management plan, and that's located at the corner of Harringtown and Mount Lucas in this general area here. And then there will be additional sidewalks and landscaping which show up on the landscaping plan. There's a small emergency generator pad and trash enclosure located in the northwest corner of the site, adjacent to the other office buildings as well, and a 6-foot wood fence along the southerly property line as part of a buffer for the Old Orchard development. This property is in the S2, the Service 2 zone. There are 3 variances that are associated with this application. The first is for side yard setback, where 60 feet is required and 19 feet is proposed for the emergency generator, and 20 feet for the trash receptor, and again, that's located here in the northwest corner, with the adjoining use being some parking and driveway for the office buildings. There's a requirement, 10B283, to have 2 loading spaces given the size of the building, and only 1 is being proposed. That one being proposed is located here along the southern line. You'll see in the reports regarding the loading area, I think in general most of the advisory committees and the staff were in support of the variance. In my report, we question whether we really need the loading area. It's probably, and we'll hear some testimony from the applicant, mostly vans and UPS box trucks that will be pulling up and probably utilizing existing parking. The loading area is close to the residence. The third variance is from 10B284, which is the parking stall size. 9 by 19 is required, and the applicant has a few spaces that are compact, 19 in total, and they will be 8 by 16, and a variance is needed for that as well. Currently, the site has 2 driveways, one out to Mount Lucas and one out to Harringtown. Those will be replaced, and just 1 driveway that lines up with the Princeton House driveway to the north is being proposed. There's a traffic report that was submitted. It indicates that this development will result in a total of 275 daily trips and 39 peak trips. The board's traffic consultant, Brian Stankus, who is here if the board has questions, has requested some additional information on the peak hour traffic. He points out that the 39 may be a little low. Of the 125 parking spaces, I did want to point out that I mentioned the 19 compact spaces that are located off of Harringtown Road or facing Harringtown Road. There will also be priority parking for low-emission vehicles, and there are 4 of those. If you're looking at the plan, they are labeled LEV stalls. There are 2 here and 2 over here. There is a electrical vehicle charging station, again located here in the northwest corner of the site. You got that right? Yeah. And then finally, one of the parking spaces will be used to provide space for 2 motorcycles. There are sidewalks on the north side and south side of the building as well. The staff reports indicate we'd like to see sidewalks on all 4 sides. I will point out that when we go over the SPRAD report, they did not endorse that idea and thought that the 2 sidewalks were adequate. There's a bike rack proposed also in the southwest corner right here. We've asked the applicant to indicate how many bikes that will accommodate. As part of the construction of the building, the parking lot, and the detention basin, 150 trees ranging in size from 3 inches to 35 inches will be removed. The applicant has submitted an arborist report which concludes that 102 of the 150 are viable, so that there are a number that are either dead, dying, or in some form of decay. The plan itself calls for planting 61 trees on site, and the applicant is proposing to plant 50 off site, which would comply with the ordinance requirements. The planting plan also includes a number of shrubs and ground cover as well. The board's landscape consultant has suggested that some of the shade trees that are proposed, some of the shade trees that are to remain are ash trees. He's concerned that they may succumb to emerald ash borer, and recommends that a plan be put together to deal with that as an issue. He also recommends there's a 35-inch catalpa tree, if I'm saying that right, located over here that he suggests be preserved. The Shade Tree Commission recommended preserving that tree as well as a larger elm tree. The board's landscape consultant also recommended that 5 shade trees be relocated closer to the parking lot or in an aisle to provide a little bit more shade for the parking lot and be in compliance with the ordinance requirements. It's requested that the applicant provide some additional landscaping near the detention basin, which again is here at the corner, to help soften the appearance of the detention basin. In my report, I've asked the applicant to consider some additional landscaping for the emergency generator. In the trash area, I realize it's next to a parking lot, but I'm concerned with views from Harringtown as well. The stormwater management plan that is being proposed, the municipal engineer advises it does comply with the ordinance requirements, and our stormwater consultant, Mr. Scupian, had a few technical changes that he would like made to the plan, and they should become conditions of the approval should the board so choose. We received a number of reports from the advisory committees, and I'd just like to briefly summarize those comments so that they're part of the record. From SPRAB, they recommended approval of all the variances. They suggested that the bike storage, bike racks be relocated to the rear and that it be uncovered. They recommend that the board's landscape subcommittee review the final landscaping plan. They endorsed the proposal to mitigate the removal of trees with the planting off-site. suggested that some additional understory plantings need to be provided to screen the old orchard area from the proposed development. And they, again, did not endorse the sidewalks on the other two sides of the building. The Shade Tree Commission recommends that the applicant adhere to the one-to-one replacement for plantings. They've asked him to consider additional adding of rain gardens. They've asked that he consider using permeable pavement, that a management plan be developed for ash trees, again, the concern being the emerald ash borer, and retaining catawba, which on the tree plan is number 29, and the elm, which is number 113, which I don't have on my plan. PEC, or Princeton Environmental Commission, offered a number of comments, and the first was that the applicant tried to preserve and replace more trees on site, that he provide covered bicycle parking, prepare a maintenance plan for stormwater, and consider utilizing more non-structural strategies. They've also asked that the applicant provide space in the trash enclosure for organic waste, that they consider maximizing southern exposure and shifting the orientation of the building, that the applicant should evaluate solar on the roof after construction so that it's a clearer picture with many of those tall trees gone, whether or not that's feasible. They recommend the applicant try to recycle at least 75% of the demolition waste, that they use FCS lumber, avoid red list materials, use green building materials and finishes, and provide a shower for employees who bike to work. And then the last advisory group was traffic safety, who asked that the applicant provide 2 bike racks, provide sidewalks around the building, extend a sidewalk out to Harringtown Road, and relocate some of the handicap parking. That's a summary of the staff reports and advisory committee reports, as well as a very brief summary on the application. Alina Ferrara is sitting in for Jack West, our municipal land use engineer. Derek Bridger, our zoning officer, is here, and I mentioned Brian for traffic. If there are questions for me or the staff, we'd be glad to answer them.